Hey, welcome to Fire Chat, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Rice, and today I have with me Mr. Jacob Ortiz. Say hello.
Hi, how's it going? How's it going, Rich?
Good, man. Good. It's good to have you on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for signing up to be a guest. I really appreciate it. I keep saying that at all the meetings, and then every once in a while someone pulls out their phone and comes on the show. So I appreciate you. Where are you coming from today?
Today, Chino,
Okay.
California.
That's not too far for those of you not familiar with the area. It's like what, 20 minutes?
25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Not
I came
too
from
bad.
Crestline, so that was
It's more of a drive for you.
but it was only like 35 minutes, so not that much further than you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so this is the Financial Independence Through Real Estate podcast. So we talk about real estate, we talk about financial independence, we talk about people's journeys, either through real estate or if they're already financially independent, how they got there, that kind of stuff. So I guess we'll just jump right into it, Jacob. What originally got you interested in real estate?
Originally, it was, if I were to go back to day one, it would probably be, like everyone, Robert Kiyosaki, right? Yeah. Luckily, when I was younger.
It's a gateway drug.
Yeah, right. When I was younger, my dad introduced me to the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad for Teens. That was like one of the books he got me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Growing up, my grandparents owned investment properties, so he would help me from time to time. I would help him from time to time, do carpet, things like that. Mm-hmm. So growing up kind of around it, not really. What really got me into it was I hated my job, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
So I had to find a way, like everyone's looking for financial freedom. And for me, that best route was real estate at the time, still is.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So what were you doing at the time?
My current job?
Yeah.
So when I was...
what was the job you hated?
Was a Mercedes-Benz system technician for 6 years.
Wow.
For right here in Riverside. So I fixed cars for 6 years. It took me about 2 years in to realize it wasn't something that was sustainable in the long run. Yeah. Made good money at a young age, but at the end of the day, I realized I couldn't do it for the rest of my life.
What did you do for? Did you have to go to school for that? Or?
Yeah, I did. I went to automotive school and then Mercedes-Benz specific training for 6 months down in Long Beach.
Dang. So how much time did you invest in that?
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
Year and a half. I got straight out of high school, went to automotive school, and then for 11 months, and then from there went to training down in Long Beach for 6 months.
So you did it for like 3 years, 3.5 years, somewhere around there, like total from school to you kind of realized it, or?
Oh, from school to realizing that I didn't like what I was doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably about 3 years.
Okay. And then how much longer? Are you still a tech? Or?
No, I'm not, thank God. Now I'm a real estate agent full-time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right on. So, dude, I'm sure at some point you were like, man, I spent a lot of time on this, and I'm sure other people told you that, or
it's especially because you go into you go into debt, going to school. Mm-hmm. Thankfully I was smart and I paid off my student loans about 2 years in. Living with my parents, thankfully, helped me be able to do that. But at the end of the day, I just wanted better. Mm-hmm. I think there was more to life than just what I was doing. It was a hard move though. That's a totally different career.
Yeah, for sure. So you went straight from that right into real estate, being an agent? Or?
Yeah, so I got licensed 2 years ago, about 6 months before I decided I was going to just uproot and quit, because I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't do 2 weeks or anything. I just, one Friday I packed my tools up and I came Monday and said I'm out, Oh, yeah. But at that point, I just had to just jump into it. I burned the bridges, they say,
Yeah, probably.
Which can be scary, but... I had hope in myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be a recruiter and staffing and stuff like that. And there was, if anybody didn't give their 2 weeks, it was like, no.
Yeah, no, they told me I'm not welcome back, but it's all right. It's all right.
You weren't coming back anyways.
No, I didn't want to. But at the end of the day, it's just, it was scary for sure, Yeah. Even right now, the way the market is, being a realtor is not the easiest.
So how long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay, so you've been a full-time
realtor
agent
since... This is about to be my full second year. Yeah.
Nice, dude. So how's it going?
My first year, for my first year, I killed it, man. 8 deals. I did fairly well for myself my first year. This year, I wish I could say the same, but the way the market is...
What do you think changed? Just the market?
I'm not one to blame the market, but it's also some of my own actions, right? Like I said, coming from such a different career path, learning how to communicate, right? I went from a job where I didn't talk to nobody, I just worked on cars all day, to now I have to try to talk to as many people as I can in one day, right? That was the biggest change for me.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I mean, probably not a very social job
No,
job
not
that's
at all.
all about
No, not at all.
people.
Yeah.
So that's a. Is that your like? Are you just naturally that kind of? Is that what you didn't like about just being stuck behind?
No,
like,
not
stuck behind.
not
Like, you know what I mean? Stuck under a car, I guess.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. Where this all started was I bought a long-term investment property, right? And then I just, me being me, I'm very structured in my mind. I just wanted to find out everything about real estate, right? So which is why I took the exam, and I decided I had a mentor at the time who was willing to help me in the business. So that's why I decided to go the route as a real estate agent, ultimately, and then to help people through financial freedom as well, through investing, like I did myself.
So you said you did AD. Are you like are most of your what's your client mix like?
So the way I get my business is on the phone. I built my business on the phone. I cold call all day if I try to. 300 calls if I can. Usually, last year where most of my deal came from was absentee owners, so investors.
So so when you said 8 deals, is that 8?
That was
us. 8 listings that you got?
I think I did 4 listings and the rest were buy sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
For investors or for
investors? Yeah.
Wow, dude, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're a very investor focused agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do when like your friend, or your friend's friend or whatever, like first time buyers and they want to do FHA? Like, do you help them or do you?
No, I'm at a point. I'm not at a point where I can pick and choose my clients, right? So I'm willing to help whoever. But at the end of the day, I work better with investors.
You're focusing on investors.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I had
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had one investor last year. For the most part, changed my life. The reason I say that is because of the amount of 3 of my deals are from him. So just one investor was a duplex. He owned a duplex out here in Riverside. I called him on it. No one likes getting a phone call about the property, but kept following up with the guy. Ended up liking me. Allowed me to sell 2 of his properties to do what they call reverse 1031 exchange.
Yep.
Into a triplex down in where he lives in Ranchos Palos Verdes.
Right on. So I'm curious why, because you're cold calling like takes a lot of effort.
It's rough.
I'm sure you know. Like it's like I said, I used to be a recruiter and I used to 300 dials a day, be on the phone for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is a long time when you're talking short conversations for the most part. So
right.
But I'm curious, like why. When you have these conversations with these sellers, are you just going in solely as an agent, or do you put offers in front of them as like a wholesaler? Or
when I first started doing it, right, I didn't really know what direction to go with it because some people, some people would say, "What is this, a social call?" Because I try to figure out. I knew
like it's just lunch, it's just dinner. We're not getting married.
Yeah.
Just coffee.
The immediate response is, I'm not selling my house, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right. And then you get used to that. Okay, cool. I understand why you think I'm trying to sell your house, but I'm just interested. I'm just trying to find out. Are you acquiring more to your portfolio? Are you changing your business structure and your own investment properties? And just get them talking, right? Build rapport. I guess the biggest thing for me is how to find out these are owners, not sellers. Right. So when you go the absentee route, investors, it's building relationships ultimately.
Yep.
It's not about how many they get so many calls, trust me. Wholesalers.
Oh yeah, they're getting the absentee owners like the first list that everybody hits, because it's you go after those tired landlords.
Yeah. So my thing would be like, I'm not selling my property. Cool, I don't want to buy it. That's kind of how I would kind of just build rapport with these people. But ultimately it's just relationship based. When you're dealing with
so when you're going in, like let's say this guy says yes, what's your approach? Are you just trying to get him top dollar? Like what?
I come from I try to just provide as much value as I can, as an agent, from the agent perspective. Hey, I've seen you own this property for a decent amount of time. Do you know what it's worth in today's market? Would you be interested in just a free CMA market analysis? No obligation, of course, and then go from there, right? Or also seeing if they do have tenants, how long the tenants have been there, if they decide when the leases go up, if they want to change. Either a lot of investors really, I hate to say the ones I call, they're older, right? And they've owned those properties for a long time, and everyone knows they're just going to hold on for the long run,
27.5 years.
Right? As long as you can appreciate it, man.
Yep. So, okay, cool. So, I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff that's, and what I was kind of getting at, these questions are, so like, if you have you ever wholesaled or gone in like just as a wholesaler or like had that conversation with people?
See, that's what I'm kind of like, where I'm coming from right now, right, is I want to feel like there's more than one direction I can go as just being the realtor part of it, right?
Absolutely.
And because that come across people all the time, man. Investors who are willing to just help me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking for. I wish I can do some sort of, I guess, find out creative finance, seller finance, right? If those opportunities presents themselves.
Well, I mean, you have I guess it really doesn't matter because here's what we do. So like when we sit down with a seller, we ask the age-old Peter Fortunato question: why would you sell such a nice house as this?
Yeah.
And then just let them talk. Especially if they've called us and said they want to sell. Like, why are you selling? Like, why would you sell? Like I mean, if it's falling over and half burnt down, you might want to leave out the nice house part. They might think you're being a smart ass, but but like, why are you selling? Like, why are you selling this? Why are you selling this asset? And then just let them talk. But it sounds like you're going at it from a very agent centric mind.
Initially, yeah, and that's what I kind of want to change because I feel like there's more opportunity than just going about it that way.
Absolutely. And so we used to do the opposite. We would go in with just a wholesaler like mindset, and we just try and get the rock bottom price we could get, or wholesale flipper, like the rock bottom price we could get, and that was it. Like it was just a big hammer, that we would just like throw on people and like, this is it, take it or leave it, and then we don't do that anymore. So we kind of evolved in as far as we put multiple offers in front of people. So there's always the hammer. This is like the we'll pay this price. You walk away in like 7 days. You don't have to do anything. You can leave everything you want, and you don't have to fix or touch a thing. No inspections, nothing. No going on the market, nothing. You're just done. Or, you could we could do it this way with the creative financing. Either seller finance or seller carry or installment sale. We like to say a lot instead of seller carry. They like that a little bit more. And then we always put the market offer also, because I'm not an agent, but my mom on my team is, and so like we'll basically put like multiple offers in front of a seller so that they can see all the options, and we could get you, let's say 300,000 if we threw it on the market, but I'll pay you 2 right now and you don't have to deal with it. Or I could pay you like 400,000, but it's got to be over, 10 years or 15 years or whatever, whatever. It all depends on what the house can support.
Yeah. Terms, right? Terms you like.
Exactly. So that, and it's, but the thing is, what I'm getting at is like your sales approach to get in the door. It's all the same of what you're doing right now.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I guess where my conflict starts is just the lack of really now the knowledge, right, or the team behind me to even present those kind of offers, right? Which is kind of why I'm in the group too, as well. In the club, just to network and meet people who are doing things beyond me, right? Who are able to. I understand the concept, but I can't sit here and explain it to somebody confidently, right?
Yeah.
A lot of seller finance, even creative finance, it's all based off trust, right? They have to be able to trust you. Mm-hmm. So, I guess that's kind of where I'm stuck, really.
And you really, I mean, at that point, that you are the trustworthy. If they're having the conversation with you, you've built enough rapport that you have the trust to put out, to lay out these options. And you'd be surprised how often people go, well, I'll just take the 200. I could do a My Cousin Vinny quote right there, but so kicking your ass or taking the 200. I'll take the 200.
I like it.
So some people do. They're done. They just want to walk away. They don't want to deal with the public. They don't want to deal with inspections and fixing stuff and all the other crap that you have to deal with putting it on the market. But and then I mean less often they'll go for the seller financing part, the creative side. But the point is that you're always making these you're always making these offers. And your situation, is not unique. I mean, there's a, you were brought into real estate as an agent, so you have an agent, centric mindset. And we've talked about doing some classes or some seminars here of just focused on that, like, how to like shift your mindset a little bit so that you are going in with the investor perspective instead of the agent. Because what's as an agent, right? You're like, what's your number one focus? Like when you walk in, like what's your main pitch to them?
Of course, you're trying to list the property, right? Yeah.
But like, would you say that you're trying to get them the lowest price or like the highest price?
Highest price, of course.
Yeah. So you're
retail price.
Yeah. So you're like your entire like approach is all around that. And, so when you start the expectation of like, I'm going to get you the most money for the property, it's kind of hard to turn it around and say, but now it's really only worth 2, like in the condition that it's in.
Yeah.
But I could probably get you 3 if it sat on the MLS for, a few months or. So.
No, I totally get you. And what's crazy is I had a wholesaler kind of one time reach out and change my perspective a bit about a property that I listed. A duplex that was almost not in loanable condition, meaning it couldn't be financed because of the condition of whether the roof was messed up, termite damage, right? When they went to appraise it, basically the bank wouldn't allow the property to be financed. So it was like right there where we didn't really know if it would pass or not.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, I don't know why you just didn't shoot it an investor route. Maybe they would have they ended up taking less on the property, $50,000 less on the property in general. Wow. But he said, why don't you have a wholesaler sell it and then have them relist with you so that way it sells at a higher price, right? Overall, the seller's happy. It was a quick close. And then now you get a relist at a higher price.
Yeah.
So instead of just going the traditional, let's go on the market, right? Okay, how about we just get you to, a wholesaler investor, make the process quicker for yourself, and then move forward from there.
Yeah. And that's, that's typically like, when that's just coming, it's really just like how you position yourself in the initial conversation. Like once you get that, I'm thinking about selling, instead of having we're going to list your property for the highest price possible and get you the most money, you're rewinding a little bit on what did they want? Like,
Exactly.
what do they need?
Exactly.
Like maybe they don't want the highest price. They just want to get out of it as fast as possible. But if you're jumping right to, let's just list it and get it on the market.
Yeah.
You're not, and I'm not saying you're doing it all exactly like this.
That's how realtors are, they're that's just kind of how the business is, And
that's
how we
typically,
get paid.
I mean, I'm not an agent. I haven't been through agent training, but like that seems like kind of how they teach you how to be an agent is just get your client the highest price possible as fast as possible. And I mean, it sounds good on paper, right? I mean,
Yeah, essentially.
But a lot of times it gets like, for example, there's this property up in my neck of the woods, up in the mountains, that was on the market. It was way overpriced. We put in a really low offer. And the agent, made it sound like this guy was in like about to lose the house, like imminently, like about to lose the house. And we put a, creative offer together. We're trying to take his subject. He had like a 2.75 interest rate. We were trying to do like a sub 2. And she made a really low offer but we made a realistic offer, like for the house. It was low, but it was realistic. And then we went up like $30,000. That was, and then we still tried to make it work, and then went through escrow, went through inspections and everything, and it was just like, dude, there's no way. Like we're back to where we were. Like we can't. And then, that was 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. It's still sitting on the market, and they dropped it like $20,000-$30,000. I mean, we're gonna go back eventually.
Yeah.
But it was like, at that point, like, where was the agent saying, dude, you gotta like this is the realistic part of it. Like you want way too much, and it's, I know it's tough. I know the clients aren't always that understanding.
You know what, who kind of changed my perspective on that? I'm sure everyone, a lot of people listen to Pace Morby now.
Yep.
And he was saying, a lot of the real estate agents are not really educated in creative finance when sometimes that might be the best route for the client, right?
Exactly. And trying to explain it to the agent who's got to explain it to the client, and they won't let you talk to their client.
Exactly.
I was just like, it was doomed to fail from the get go.
The problem is they're the gatekeeper, and in their mind, if you try to go a creative way, it's like, oh, then maybe I won't get my commission, right? That's immediately where the thought process goes.
Yep.
But they can still get paid through it, right?
Yeah.
But I hate to say they put their own interests above their clients, so
yeah, and that's
and they don't understand.
That does happen, and they don't realize it. So back to what we were talking about too is like, you go in with these, you just want to have more. I've heard it described. I don't make this up, but you want more tools in your tool chest, in your bag.
Exactly.
So if like I said, we used to be guilty of it too. We are still sometimes. I get hammered in like, I just want to bring out the hammer on the wholesale deal.
Yeah.
And it's you got to take a step, and people are worried too. Like, from a wholesaler, like you're like, well, no, I need this thing at like 200,000. Like, I don't want to tell them that they could get 3, but if you listen, to what they want, like they might not want the money. like, I mean, everybody else is like, well, of course you want the money. It's like, it's not always that though. Like there's, I'm trying to think of an analogy of that, but like, it's just not always that way. So
no, it comes down to motivation too. And then, last week when we were here talking creative finance, what made sense too is, kind of opened my thought process up is no one needs really a stack of cash. Like you said, sitting on the kitchen counter, right?
Some people are afraid of it.
I mean, I wouldn't want that much, right? Like the way, inflation is and everything, nobody wants that amount of money sitting in the bank, right?
Well, and some people are really bad with cash and they know it. I have family members that, they get a windfall of something and they lock that up in a CD like immediately, or they go buy something like, that's like they can't just, because if they get $30,000, $100,000, $300,000 sitting in the bank, like they're burning through that.
Yeah, it comes down to, I guess,
fast.
right. It comes down to their end goal, I guess, right? Like where they plan on going next with the capital, I guess, right? Because if you can bridge that gap, for them, right? Like you're saying,
yeah, absolutely. So, like, if we were going to put together, because obviously, you've done more than a handful of deals on the agent side. You work with investors, so you understand the investor lingo. What do you think, like, I guess if we did put a class together, what would be, on how to transition from that agent, and I don't want to say transition from the agent mindset to the because there is a positive side to the agent mindset. Like there's, I want to keep, there's certain tricks that agents can do that, some people might disagree, but there are benefits to having that agents can do and that non-agents can't and stuff like that. But what would you want to see in a class out there?
I guess so. There's being a realtor, right? When the big question is how you're going to get your clients, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, it just so happened to be the phones, right? Some people like door knocking, some people go social media, which at this point in time, social media it's free, right? Why not? Mm-hmm. But, where this all kind of came to for me was over the phone, direct outbound prospecting and talking to sellers directly, and that's when I've realized okay, maybe I can go a different route with this for my own business, right? Meaning if I do come across a deal, because I do from time to time, and I've built a large list of investors I can call up and just have conversations with, right? Yeah. Even some I could reach out for help if I ever need any sort of education or, hey, how did you do this, right? How would you structure this deal, right? So in all that, I'm learning from them. I guess that's the goal, is to learn from the investor, and then remember, like I said, they're owners, they're not sellers, right? These are people. These are people who built wealth on their own. Yep. Sometimes not super wealthy people own 4 or 5 units, and are satisfied. Yeah. A lot of the people I talk to, anyone who bought a house from 2010 to 2015, right? They're sitting on a stack of cash. The properties they got deals on, on.
For sure. Sure. And a lot of them, a lot of whatever. They might have got lucky, that they just bought at the right time, and now they're sitting on this cash, and they might not even know what to do with it. If they, they're I mean, granted, if they bought in 2000, between 2010 and
Yeah.
2000,
Some of these mom and pop,
20, like,
yeah,
they're not, they really shouldn't sell, but if they,
right.
need to, what do they do with it?
Well, and it's also where they want to take their portfolio, right? Some people, a lot of the mom and pop investors, right? They were all just told, buy single family, rent it out, cash flow, right? And they did that over and over and over again. Some people I talk to, now they're, okay, how can I 1031 exchange 3 of my properties into something bigger, into a multifamily property what might cash flow more, or might appreciate more over time. But there's a difference between, I feel like, the active and passive investor.
Yeah.
That's what I learned over the phone, at least. Some people are actively still trying to grow their wealth, and some are just happy where it's at, like, essentially.
Absolutely. So back to my question.
Yeah.
Like, if we were gonna do a class, like, what would be the most helpful to you?
I guess it would be, personally, for me, it's not hard to talk to the sellers, but it's also how to direct the conversation, right? How do you step out of the agent role into, hey, I'm also an investor myself, right? And then I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I wish I had the answer to that, but that's kind of why I come to the club, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, where I can help people is I would love to be able to just sit on the phones, right, and call sellers and generate these leads, right, for a team or someone who can help me, go through the process, A to Z, right? Because that's where I struggle, right? The hard part for some people is even getting the seller to talk to you over the phone.
Yep.
For me, I've learned that skill. So trying to build a team really of people who can help me, and I can help them, essentially.
Yeah. And this is I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a very important point. That, and I don't even know if you realize you said it, but like we have this debate in the club all the time about if you should ever sell a property, if you should wholesale, if you should, like, what kind of investor you should be. If Airbnbs are a good thing, or or just a job, or like it's there's always these debates, and I think what you just said about that, you like calling people and cold calling and having those conversations, and that's rare. That's super rare, but you don't necessarily like the actual sale part of it, or
it's not that I don't like it. It's that I'm uneducated in that in that area. You know what I'm saying? I can't really, like I said, I understand the concept, but for me, so understanding something's one thing, but to be able to teach it's a whole other layer, right? You understand it to a more extent.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Where I'm finding out, right? I need to build trust. How do I build trust, right? I need to feel confident when I'm talking to these sellers, right? And my lack of confidence is because I don't know the whole process, right?
Gotcha.
I know seller financing. I know some creative finance methods, but I don't know the documentation, right? I don't know the paperwork, right? So when those questions arise, I don't want to sit here and be like,
Yeah.
That's where I would need somewhat of mentorship, and ultimately, you need a team of people, right? I can find and do all that, right? But why, when there's people, especially in this club, who've done it before, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who can help we can help each other streamline the process, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hell, the next time you get somebody that says yes, give me a call.
Well, see, and that's like this is why I'm trying to educate myself, is because like how you said, how do I know whether this is a good subject to or a good seller finance? Of course, seller financing, they usually have to own it outright or have a good amount of equity in the property, right? But
typically, man, it's all like it really, any type of sales, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's being an agent, whether it's staffing, recruiting, door to door, chimney sweeps, or solar, or whatever.
Right.
It doesn't. It all starts with, like, it all builds. It's all like a multi-step process. It's never just, people always, the worst sales agents are the ones that just want to jump right to the sale. Like, they hear the yes, and they're like, okay, let's go. Like, and you got to pump the brakes a little bit. And I don't mean you as, the royal you.
Totally
I just mean, like,
totally
one needs to, like, pump the brakes when they say, when you get it, and really, like, dig into what they really want. And I think that's what, no matter what industry, it's whatever you're selling or not selling or buying or whatever. Like you gotta.
Yeah.
So I think the first step is just like, okay, because then they will tell you. They will tell you exactly it'll tell you if it's a good sub 2 deal.
You're
Or they
right.
will tell you if it's going to be a good wholesale deal or a good listing,
Yeah.
or like they will tell you that and
you're
what
right.
they need, from what they want, like
Yeah.
what they want, not what you want, what they want.
Yeah, no, it's
You
crazy
know?
you say that, but it comes down to just listening, right? Just listen to what they're saying, right? Pay attention to what their goals are, right?
Yeah.
And put
Like,
your
what are you going to do? A good question is like, what are you going to do with the money? And they might be like, what do you care? But it's an important question.
Yeah,
Like, what do you
yeah.
want to do with the money? Some people, a lot of times it's either they, and I laugh because it's what I wanted to do at one point. I still do, but they're like, I just want to sell the house, get an RV and just travel, or get a sailboat and just, go off into the sunset. And all right, well, what if you knew somebody that was selling a sailboat or selling an RV, or you could come up, you could somehow make a deal where you could get this guy the RV, plus 20,000 or whatever he needs, or they need, or she needs, whatever. And that's where the listening part comes in is because they might not just want the money. They want a dream, a lifestyle,
That's true.
and you can be that consultant for them in something else. Like okay, well, you're going to get a $500,000 paycheck here when you sell this thing. What are you going to do with it? Are you just going to go to Vegas and, throw it all in black, like hookers and blow? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And they'll tell you. And if they're not like, I don't really want the windfall. I just really want to I just really want to separate that out, for the rest of my life and live off that, maybe like $2,000-$3,000 a month, or $5,000 a month, whatever it works out to be. And if they say that, then you're like, oh, well, it sounds like you might be interested if I could pay you more over a long time, and do installments, and get you that $5,000 a month. What if I could pay you the $5,000 a month for the rest of your life? And
That's the key right there, right? That's the key. And
Yeah.
it took me a while to even understand that. It took, first of all, coming to the club, right? I didn't even know, you think about, you start dabbling in investing. I've already owned one rental property when I came here, but to hear the whole no investing part of it, right, kind of blew me away. It was a whole nother layer. I think a lot of people don't even understand,
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so many options. There's so many different ways, and that's what Pete Fortunato's class is going to be about this weekend. You coming? Did you buy a ticket?
No, I wish. I'm out of town this weekend.
Oh man, cancel it.
Right. I wish.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Huntington Beach.
You're not out of town.
Well, I'm out of the area.
You're down the street. 30 minutes down the anyway. No, a little bit more than that.
I wish I didn't make plans, but yeah, no, I would because.
Dude, this is. Look, if I, I don't know. I'm not going to ask you how important this trip is, but if it could be postponed, if you want to learn creative finance and everything that we're talking about right now and how to approach sellers, this is the guy who wrote the book on it. So, and he's only out here, once a year, if that. He hasn't been out here in 5 years.
I know.
So.
You know what's crazy is I heard you say it too. Now, everyone thinks Pace, Pace Mowry's who kind of started all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was around for long, right, way before him, right? He kind of just made it more mainstream.
And Pace is amazing. I
know,
watch all this stuff, and he's a great marketer. He's a great personality.
Oh, yeah, he is.
And he really knows his stuff. But yeah, he didn't. I'm sure there's some tricks of the trade that he developed himself, but for the most part, the concepts, been around a long time. And I don't even think that Pete really there's other stuff that he came up with too. Everyone's built on from other people. But Pete's just one of the ones he's been doing real estate since he was in high school, and the dude's I think he's either about to be 80 or he is 80. So,
Wow.
But yeah, it's that's what this whole class is gonna be about, is how, and then Pete's the one that you hear people laugh, you probably hear it in the club, people start talking about selling something, and they're like, why would you sell a nice house such as this? And we all say it as a joke because that's Pete's line, is because that's all he teaches is just listening to people and getting super creative. He's sold his house 4 times and he never moved out of it.
Yeah. I remember Andy saying that, but it just shows you. I think like you guys said, use your brain, not your capital. Like
Exactly.
that's an important thing, man. That's something I learned. I wish I would have found that out early on, but when I bought my first investment property, it took all my capital, you know. So now I'm here, not really sitting with like, instead of buying one property, I could have bought more than just one. But you know, you don't know at the time.
No. Well, I'm not going to grill you on your plans this weekend. If there's any way you could, I mean, you really are missing out on this class. So I would highly encourage you if you could figure out a way to get there.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Even if it's for one of the days. You know,
so.
But all right, well, let's talk about your investment property. So, you tell me about it. How'd you find it? When'd you buy it?
So I bought it on the market. This was 2020, almost.
Nice.
Yeah, 2020. It was perfect, man. It was just a great time to get in.
Hopefully at the beginning.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Before it took off.
Where it started was really the whole, like I was telling you before. I was looking for financial freedom beyond my job. So at the time, man, I was making good money, living at home with my parents, you know, paying, you know, I paid them rent, but I barely had any bills.
Yeah.
I learned early on, I didn't need the nice car anymore. I didn't need all these expenses, right? So I cut back on all my expenses, and I saved up a large amount of money.
Good.
Probably took me 2.5 years, right? Planning forward, working on my credit, right?
You were still when you were still at Tech?
That's when I was still at Tech, yeah. Out here in Riverside. And then finally, you know, it's when the whole COVID thing happened, right? Interest rates dropped. And at the time, you know, now that hindsight's 2020, but at the time I was hearing, hey, it's going to almost be impossible to buy homes later on, you know? Yeah. So I was in a rush. I was almost frantic. Like, I need to find something. Yeah. So I was looking for a 2-unit. My plan was to house hack it, live in one unit, the smaller unit, and then rent the house out. So I ended up, you know, I think I looked at, these are all on the market, by the way. So like 3-4 duplexes, all out in the Inland Empire. Ended up coming across, they sold it as a duplex, what turned out to be a single family house with an ADU, a 700 square foot ADU. Out here, it's not too far from here. It's about like a mile away, honestly.
Nice.
Half acre of land with 2 units on it. I ended up purchasing for $490, 15% down. And then,
nice. So you weren't able to do like the FHA or anything, or like conventional? What made you do the 15%?
The way my numbers worked out at the time, I didn't want to be over leveraged. Okay. And remember, I was looking for cash flow to help me survive when I quit my job, right? To pay at least pay my living expenses. So the way the numbers worked out, I cash flow about $1,100, almost $1,200 a month off that one property. Nice. So my mortgage is $2,100. I get about almost $3,400 from those both units.
Nice. And this is Riverside?
Riverside.
Yeah, dude, nice. Cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, it's crazy to even say, but I'll just say it, man. I got lucky, right?
It doesn't sound like it. I mean, it sounds like you worked hard. And
well, I did. But finding that, you know, that was a kind of a crazy scenario too. When the house was listed for $460, right? And, you know, most people can't step up this way, but at that time, people were doing guarantees. Are you familiar?
No.
So let's say the house was listed for $460. It was going to appraise for $460. If you were going if you were going to go over, you needed to guarantee that money to the seller. So at that time, when I ran my own comps, I was like, the most this thing's going to go for is $490, right? So I offered $490 with a $30,000 guarantee. Now everyone has that kind of money sitting around, you know, just in case to pay.
Yeah, that puts you in a very good position.
To pay over the appraised amount, you know, if I needed to come out of pocket. So, but dude, the home appraised for $490. Never had to come up with the $30K. It was all for show.
Nice.
So I was able to lock.
A solid offer. Did you have an agent?
Yeah, I had an agent at the time. That was when I was still kind of like dabbling, you know. Okay. So somebody represented me, and the property was on the market for 4 days. I woke up. It sounds crazy, but I woke up. I was, you know, always on Zillow, Redfin, things like that. I woke up 12 a.m. in the middle of the night, and I got this vibration on my phone. I look, oh man, this is a nice property. I woke up in the morning. I drove there. I called my agent. I said, hey, I want to go see it. That afternoon, on my lunch, was able to get me a showing. I went and saw the property, and I said, let's do it.
Nice, dude. Yeah, take action.
I had to, man.
I don't think it's luck at all. I mean, there's maybe a little element, but you know, I mean, it sounds like you worked your ass off. You knew what you wanted, and you were you know, very diligent on you know, finding properties, and good on you. Yeah, you know, that's cool.
I was 24 when I bought that property. So I'm 27 now. So I've owned it for a while now. But that's what keeps me afloat as far as my living expenses, man. Because now,
Are you still living in the? Do you live in the ADU? Or?
So what I did was I was going to live in the ADU, but I had found a family that wanted to live in the ADU at the time, and I was like, you know what? Okay, maybe let's see if I can make this work. I had two friends that were looking to rent a room.
Oh,
So I stayed in the master bedroom, and I rented 2 bedrooms out in the main house. So the main house is 3 bedroom, 2 bath. The ADU is a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, kitchen, everything, patio. I lived in the house. I had both my buddies pay like $600-700 rent, right? Then we all shared the cost of utilities. I was living in that house for $200 a month, basically, at the end of the day.
why'd you split everything?
Utilities?
Yeah,
Because we all shared utilities.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. I found out that it was listed as a duplex, right? When I did my more research, once I got it under contract, I was like, this is a single family house. Because they both shared utilities. Mm-hmm. So even to this day,
was it permitted ADU or? Yeah, we'll just go with yes since we're on YouTube.
Well, I didn't know at the time. It was done in a workmanlike manner, meaning it's really nice, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like a shack, but
it's not some like shed that they converted.
Yeah, no. But when I went to the city, I was trying to find out if I could build. It's a half acre of land, so a quarter acre has these 2 units, and I have a quarter acre vacant land. So at one point, I was trying to see if I could build on it, but it's not permitted fully.
So, what I've learned through the process of doing this, because I bought one similar that I thought didn't realize that was, not truly.
Yeah, exactly.
You can, this is in the county of San Bernardino. I don't know how it works in Riverside, but you can file, I don't know if it's a state law or whatever, but you can file for an as-built permit. The county or the building inspectors. Well, again, I don't know if this works in Riverside County or Riverside City, but as built is basically like it was built in a workmanlike manner. It's been here for a while, and they can approve as built, really? Especially for ADUs because they're trying to, and I don't understand. I'm still going through the process on it myself. So,
really?
But it's because they're going to try and push you around and get you to, start from scratch. And
that's what they were trying to get me to do. They're saying tear the drywall down so we can inspect it.
They might still have to do that, but they, a lot of them will just, if you do the as-built thing, they'll probably make you do plans, engineered plans, which technically you don't have to, according to state law, but it's like pick your battles kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll. They might open up if you get a friendly inspector, they'll just open up, like they'll check like the bottom, check some of the pillars. They'll look at the plumbing, like they'll open up under the sink and stuff like that. They won't make you tear the whole thing apart. Again, it's just, I don't know if that works in Riverside, but I would definitely find somebody that would know, that's done, builds in Riverside or legal, because they're really big on, the state of California right now is really big on getting ADUs legalized. Even if they weren't, you have a certain amount of time to, I think it's until 2025, to basically like ministerially get them approved. And there's like some technical, like the minister, I don't even know if I'm using that term correctly. But there's because we have a massive housing shortage. So they're trying to legalize these mother-in-law quarters, whatever, guest houses, ADUs. They're trying to legalize them. So that they can help with the housing crisis that we have.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Senate Bill 9, SB 9 at all?
The lot split one?
Yeah. Well, the urban lot split, or it's also for ADUs as well. But that right there is a good.
Our SB 10 was the lot split, I think.
SB 10, I think, is something to do with apartments. I'm not 100% sure. But the reason why I know about SB 9 is because that's what I was trying to do with my property over there. I was trying to split it in half, which I went through the preliminary process. I'm allowed to. I just got put at a halt, being cost to do plans and permits. It's going to be like 50, 60 grand before I even put a shovel in the ground, So, but if anyone's looking, if your property fits in the right guidelines, SB 9 could be a great thing.
Yeah, because you get as basically like a single family.
You can turn
as long as you live there, you can like split the lot.
You could do a single family unit. One single family zoned property can now be 4 units.
Because you can split it in half, build another house, put an ADU on each one.
Put 2 units. Well, no, you can do, if you split the lot, you can do 2 houses. They don't have to be ADUs. So you can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. And then technically, I mean, you can put an ADU on each one. You can also do junior ADUs if you're if you're living there. So I mean, technically, every single family property, without splitting the lot, can technically be a triplex. But the junior ADU, you have to live there.
Exactly. Well, SB9 in general, you have to live there, but it's like, do you really have to live there?
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's claimed as my primary.
Yeah. Well, that's a decision every investor has to make.
You know, it's fine. It's a fine line.
You know, you can live there part time.
Just saying.
Full-time,
I'm just saying.
Keep
you know,
keep it flat. You know, for a rainy day.
Yeah, I doubt the city's going to come knocking on your door to see if you live there, but I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, you know, that's all part of the risk management and what you want to do. And
yeah, exactly.
I don't. All of mine are. I don't have any juniors at the moment. You know, so. But yeah, there's a lot of options there. Dude, that's really cool that you have an investment property already. You're already talking about house hacking. You're already doing house hacking. You see, I did the same thing. I bought a duplex by my first property, and I lived in the lower unit, the small unit, and then I rented the top unit. And honestly, it never crossed my mind to just rent out the bottom unit and then get roommates for the top property. I mean, it really wasn't like
I was trying to
3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, but it's like they're weird. They're like weird bedrooms.
I was just trying to limit my expenses. What I ended up doing, right? So while I lived there for like 11 months, I think. I did upgrades to the property, just the things to make it more convenient for both my tenants. And then when I quit my job, that's when I signed a lease for that place, and me and all my buddies left. So it went from $200 out of my pocket to about $1,100 in my pocket. Went back with my parents, right? Not everyone has that opportunity, but thankfully my parents have the space. And you know, when you take risks like I do, you know, changing careers. You know, I'm 27. Not everyone can just uproot and say, hey, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna go for it, right? But I don't have no kids, no family, really. So that's the route I went.
Yeah, no, it's a. You know, I think there's a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of stigma out there about like living at home or, but if you could do it, and you could change your life doing it, like do it, like, pay rent, pay a little bit of rent to your parents, and save. I mean, I did the same thing, man. I did the same thing at how old was I? 32. I did that at 32. I moved back from Phoenix. I moved to come into real estate because I was in a similar spot. I hated my career choices at the time, and came back to go into real estate with my family, and trying to get back on my feet, moving back to California from Arizona. Like, there's no way I would have been able to do it as quickly as I did. Yeah. Paying rent, like paying $2,500 a month for a condo in Corona or something like that. Like there's no way. So yeah, I mean, if you can, if I didn't have the offer, I would have, like gotten a room somewhere or, but it is a, there, I don't think there's anything wrong with paying off all your stuff, paying off all your debt, saving up money, doing what you got to do. And, if you're, a lot of people are like, I would never do that. You got to get along with your folks too, or your family or whatever. I'm really lucky that I get along with mine. Some people don't. Some people don't have that.
That's what I'm saying. I was blessed with that opportunity. I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah,
because of that, it allows me to really take risk. Because especially doing real estate, man. I'm sure you heard it before. You don't. Being a new agent it's difficult, man.
I'm sure.
You don't know when your next check's going to come. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and that's where that high pressure, kind of sales mentality comes in, and you're just going in trying to make the sale, basically.
It's a mindset thing, man.
Yeah. And the other thing about going in, I mean, how many of these sellers, or how many of these deals that you've done where you sold the property, or you were the seller agent? Mm-hmm. How many of them would you have liked to have kept for yourself?
2 at least, man.
Yeah.
2 at least. There's 2 duplexes I sold, and great. It's great units, man. Well kept up by the owner, and they still made sense at the price the buyers ended up getting them for. But not being educated at the time, right? I wish I could have pitched some sort of creative finance way,
Yeah, and how different would your approach been if you went in with the mindset that one of the options was that you wanted the house.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's what Pete's going to be talking about this weekend.
I'm missing out, man. I'm missing out. I really am.
So, well, we'll get him back out here again, hopefully next year.
I hope, man.
But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. But that's what I mean. Was like, don't just be a one trick pony.
Yeah.
And that goes for a lot of people out there. Like, there's a lot of wholesalers that's all they know how to do. There's a lot of agents that's all they know how to do. There's a lot of reverse mortgage people that's what they focus on.
It's
bankers that go in and they're and there's the more tools you have in your tool chest, that you can give people options.
It's so, man, the industry, right? Investing or just the sales side, it's so like multi-dimensional, man. Like, there's so much to this. I feel like some people they hear about, the top layer, and then, you dive deeper and deeper into investing in real estate in general, and you realize, like, man, there's so many different ways to do things for yourself or for others.
Yep. And that's why we've been doing this for 6 years now, something like that, 2017, whatever that is. Yeah, 6 years. And we're still learning. We're still learning. Even after 50 flips, I'm still just one we're doing right now. I'm still learning. I just learned how much scaffolding costs on a 4-story house, on the side of a mountain. It's $10,000 I wasn't accounting for.
Is that where you do most of your business, up in the mountain?
Yep, up near Lake Arrowhead, all the surrounding little towns around there in Crestline, and
you do Running Springs too?
Not a whole lot. Running Springs is like, it's closer than Big Bear. It's like 35 minutes to Running Springs. It's not. It's like, I don't know, 10, 12 miles or something like that, but it's all, switchbacks on the mountains. So it's single lane highway over there. So I don't do a ton in Running Springs. But I would. I mean, if, it's a big enough market, like because it basically is like Crestline, Lake Arrowhead, Running Springs, and then Big Bear. And then there's a bunch of little towns all kind of sprinkled around.
Got you. So what did you say your niche is? Like the mountain town, the cabin type of flips?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really, really Crestline. We've done, I don't know, probably like 50 flips up there at this point.
Wow.
I have a handful of rentals, had an Airbnb at one time. And I live up there too. So, and it's a small town. It's like 10, 15,000 people max.
I've heard it's hard to get contractors up there, hard to get work done.
It can be. I haven't had that problem in a long time. I have multiple crews that live on the mountain. There's a lot of guys that do a lot of work up there. It's just, I wouldn't say they're unfriendly to people down the hill. We call it, down the hill.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Flatlanders, I guess.
No. One of the first homes I sold was in Running Springs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the other agents didn't like that. That I was down the hill.
Oh yeah, no, they
make it known.
On that, absolutely. The agents up there are very protective. They they're more like, a lot of them are putting all their stuff on the CRMLS now, but there used to be the Mountain MLS that
one in Big Bear,
that they didn't even list stuff on the, but I think Zillow kind of crushed all that. So
even me being a realtor, trying to find listings out in Big Bear is hard for me because they have their own MLS. Unless you pay the fees to their association, you don't get the.
Yeah, but I mean that pretty much all goes on Zillow anyways. So
yeah, that's true.
And really, like these days, I mean, if your buyers are they're looking on Zillow, like they're not waiting for most of them aren't waiting for the email. They're just jumping on Zillow, looking. And like, I mean, how many of them are, they bring you the houses and they're like, we want to see these ones.
It's like 80% of the time. Man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a lot of very protective agents up there. There are people that, are a little bit hostile to people down the hill, but not really. I mean, we all, those of us that actually have a clue of what's going on, up there, that live up there, like, the people that come from down the hill to vacation and visit and stuff, like that's what keeps the entire economy up there is tourism.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
the most part. Like it's not the locals shopping at the 15 antique shops that we have in town, or like the little boutique clothing stores and stuff like that. It's really not the locals going to that,
That's true. That's true.
The locals they go down to Walmart and, and Stater Brothers at the bottom of it,
That's true.
So it's really like, it's the tourists that keep the mountain towns, rolling. And, I don't have any, I mean, I'm down the hill so much. It's not like I haven't really like taken on that mountain, mindset, like closed off.
Yeah. Well, you enjoy living up there?
Yeah, I do. I love it. And I really do like the people. I bowl, at the bowling alley. That's pretty much the only thing to do other than like hiking and fishing and all the outdoor stuff. There's no movie theater anymore. There's pretty much the bowling alley. So I bowl a lot, not as much as I used to, but I still bowl. And there's pretty much, it's where I met most of my contractors, to be honest with you.
The bowling alley.
Yeah. I one time I did a project last year, and we had 5 different crews on the project. Every single one of them was from the bowling alley. So, and we literally they were working on the house, walking the job, whatever. And I was like, all right, I'll see you guys tonight. 'Cause it was lead night. So,
No way.
And,
That's cool.
And I mean, we were on it all on one team, but it was, the painter, the concrete guy, the plumber, the framer and the drywall guy were all from the bowling alley. So
that's kind of cool, man. That's what I'm saying. You found
so
a
if
nice.
you need cruise in the mountains, just go to the bowling alley.
Go to the bowl. That's the answer. It's kind of that's cool though, man. You found your little niche up there in the mountain. It's probably less competitive over there, right?
We weren't all that tight-lipped about it. So I mean, we've been saying it for years, and the secret's out now. So there's, there's way more competition up there than there was, 5 years ago when I first started doing this.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I mean, a lot of them, there's still plenty to go around. Really? We're not so like, we got to get it all kind of thing. There's still plenty of stuff going on. I mean, there's houses that I see that sold. I'm like, oh man, I was trying to get that one, but it's, sometimes they'll sell it to me. I buy too, so it's as long as it's pencilable deal. Like I still buy from wholesalers.
Is that where your deal flow comes from, or
mostly through networking?
You don't do no sort of
mostly through networking, and mostly like we send a lot of postcards. I I get referrals from friends and stuff up there that hey, they all know I buy houses. I wear my I buy houses shirt, the bowling alley and stuff like that. And, it's like the people that do, a lot of the people that bowl at the bowling are contractors and they're business owners. So, I'm giving all my secrets here. I'm going to see like all these wholesalers up there bowling soon, but, it's all right. Come on up. And, so it's a lot of networking, a lot of word of mouth. We just, it's a small town. So
yeah, it sounds like a lot of bowling.
It does. Yeah, exactly. So it's a tax write-off because I'm always working. Literally, there's not one time I go to the bowling alley that I don't have a conversation with somebody about real estate. Whether it's, the owner of the bowling alley is an agent, and she's been an agent up there for a long time. She's always talking about, something. She works for one of the higher end. Her broker's one of the long-standing higher end. So she's always got big listings. There's just one property that it's on this massive lot, right. It's just one of a kind type of property, but the house isn't all really all that special. It's just a lot.
It's got a view.
And it's got a view on one side of it. It's not a lot that normally exists in this part of town. And it's really cool, but it's just, it's like I said, it's a small town. So, and we're always out and about. We're always going to the different restaurants, and so we see, we're having breakfast and we see people. We're having lunch. We see people. It's hard to, we're very present. Everybody knows that I buy houses.
So let me ask you this, right? Because what comes to my mind is like, dude, that's a good, for one, it's all networking, especially because it's a small town, probably makes it a little easier for you. Like, what about someone who's out here in the Inland Empire, man, where competition's high and there's not that old school small town feel to it,
Yeah, well, so we still do, we primarily flip in the mountains because we've just got it dialed in, that where there's nothing, and we got it dialed in, and we got the crews and everybody, so there's really nothing that we can't handle in the mountains. So we just flip in the mountains, but we do deals all over the Inland Empire. Like we do stuff all the way up in Victorville and Apple Valley. We do stuff in San Bernardino, Riverside, Lake Elsinore, Homeland, Hemet. So it's just, we don't just do stuff up in the mountains. And mostly it's through networking. Here in the club, we get a lot of deals. Not a lot of deals through the club, but either like somebody knows somebody, or or it's we sell. A lot of times when we wholesale, it's just people in the club.
That's the good thing about the club, man. So, it's just the opportunities are
more
are here than if you weren't going to be here, right?
Yeah. And there's times that we'll get something, and I've passed a couple deals to Farah now, just stuff that I don't focus on, or if it's something that if it's some insane deal, like we'll make it happen. But we paid somebody a $50,000 wholesale fee for something in Moreno Valley last year.
Wow.
So and they were club members, and
it's a big fee for a wholesale.
Yeah, we still made pretty much double that. So
there's still skin on the bone after all.
So
that?
Yeah, it's and it's funny. I asked them if they wanted to stay in the deal. I gave them the option to stay in the deal. I was like, look, how about, because I wasn't sure. It was a small house in a big house neighborhood where the builder just, like, out of 100 homes that they built, they were all like 3,000 square feet. And then they just built randomly 20 of these 1,000 square foot homes, in this giant development. So there was all these little, there was only a very small amount of these tiny, 1,000 square, 1,100 square foot home, whatever it was, surrounded by these massive homes. And so it was tough to comp, because not a ton, there wasn't enough of those small ones that there was really any comps. There was one, and it wasn't in good shape. So I wasn't sure on the ARV. So I was, and because I don't do a lot of stuff in Moreno Valley, it was in a track neighborhood, but I was trying to, and it was also in the middle of when the market was going crazy, but it was also slowing down a little bit. So, I just wasn't sure. I really wasn't. And they wanted $50,000 as a wholesale fee. And I was like, look, I'm not entirely sure what this thing's going to be worth, but I think it could do very well. So I offered them, I said, I give you the $50,000 now, or you guys can stay in it with us. We'll still do everything. We'll, and then when we sell it, we'll split it with you, whatever it is, and if it makes you more, it could make you more, because I was kind of figuring what we were going to make was what we ended up making. And I was like, you could make, another 20,000, or you could make 20,000 less. I don't know. I'm pretty confident that you're going to make more, but I wouldn't mind if you guys stay in, and see what we do. And they're like, no, we'll just take the 50.
Jeez.
And I was like, all right, and then we turn around and that was a slam dunk deal, but that's not every day. That's if did you come to the presentation I did a couple weeks ago?
Not a couple weeks ago. No.
Part of it was I put up numbers for a lot of things that we've done, and my point was they're not all slam dunks, they're not all home runs, they're not all strikes. It's just, but if you do it enough, they come.
I think that's what some people have to realize too. Even their first deal isn't going to be a slam dunk. I feel like a lot of people are trying to make their first deal a slam dunk.
Yeah, and some people do. Some people. I just talked to Lee yesterday. He was on the show, and we did a recording of one. And his first deal that he did back in 2006 or something like that. He got a sub-2 deal. Paid the lady $20,000-$30,000 or something like that. and then he made like $200,000 over the next like couple years in rents, and then he refied, and then he ended up losing it to foreclosure. But that's but still, he turned this like $30,000. That was his first freaking deal. He just had no idea what he was doing. He was. He had some idea what he was doing. Obviously, he made a killer deal. But he said he did that, like he didn't even go through escrow. He just had her sign the thing, and then his friend was like, "Did you get the grantee?" And he was like, "Oh, I had to do that."
No title company, no
title, no escrow, nothing.
Oh, jeez, man.
But hey, who knows if she would have said yes the next day. He got it done. So
well, that's true.
He's a door-to-door salesman. It's like someone's saying yes.
You get it right then and there.
You just get it done. You don't wait.
That's funny. That's funny. Sometimes you just have to, you just got to go for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even your first deal. Because you can sit there, what do they call analysis paralysis, right? Sit there all day and try to figure it all out if it's going to make sense, and you just end up doing nothing for a while.
Exactly. So, all right, Jacob. Well, that's about that time. If people want to, either using as an agent, or take some leads and work some deals with you, how is the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, my name's Jacob Ortiz. You can find me on Instagram, JacobLuke _ JACOBLUKE _ or send me a text. Give me a call, 951-235-3996. I'm always here to help, not only just as an agent, but looking for people to grow with.
Absolutely, man. It's been great having you on the show. I appreciate you. And this has been the Fire Chat Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Rich Rice. We try and do this weekly. Every once in a while, I miss one, but try and do weekly episodes releasing on Monday in the morning. And if you're interested in coming out and learning about everything we talked about, or you got something to add, or maybe you're just a seasoned investor and you want to make some more friends, check out IEREIC.org. That's the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We do like 3 events a week. So check it out, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.